Good Shepherd, fourth in the Angel of Death series, coming December 9th. Hi everyone, and welcome to my brand new show. I am your host and author, Stevie Jo, and this is the composition of Imagination, Episode 1. It's the show where basically we're going to do a deep dive into my creative mind and examine my writing, the worlds I've built, and just fun ways that we can get my books into your hands. So today I just wanted to introduce myself and give you a little bit of a taste of what to expect in each episode going forward. So like I said, I am Stevie Jo. I am the author of the Angel of Death series. I have this lovely box set that was handmade here to show you the Angel of Death series. At the time of this recording, there are 3 books available in the series, and they are In the Beginning, False Idols, and Veiled Commandments. So Angel of Death is a fantasy romance series based in a fictional county in eastern Kentucky. So if you are from Kentucky at all or the surrounding areas, you'll definitely have that good hometown feel. But you don't have to be from Kentucky to enjoy it. That's just a nice little perk. If you are from any kind of small town with like a big city around it or that kind of feel, you will definitely understand how much of a character the place is in these books. So we will go more into detail on the series as a whole in another episode, just to give you like a summary. But the simple summary that I can give you in this first episode is it's a little slice of heaven, a little trickery from hell, and a whole lot of magical drama on Earth with creatures fighting humans for dominion. So that's the long and short elevator speech of it. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about myself. I live here in Lexington, Kentucky, which is just an incredible place to live. It really is. We absolutely love it here. If you've ever visited this side of Kentucky and read my books as well, it's really easy to see how I drew inspiration from this place because it is just so gorgeous as a setting, as a backdrop to the magic of Angel of Death. So not only that, but we do here in Lexington have a couple of the best comic conventions I've ever been to. Still hoping to make my way to San Diego one day for the big Mamma Jamma. But here, it's super awesome. We've got the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention and Scarefest are the 2 big ones. And it has been amazing to be able to take this year and enter into the vending scene to sell my books at these cons for the first time. I will put a link in the description for my website, which has my calendar on it, so that you can see when I'll be exhibiting again in the future. I believe as of now, the next con I'll be at is in March for the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention. So stay tuned to my website and socials for updates on that. But the Angel of Death series is what this channel is predominantly about. And this actually marks my publication debut back in March of 2021. That was when the first book, In the Beginning, was published. I am an indie author, which basically means I have to navigate the murky waters of publication and editing and all of that stuff and marketing. I have to do all of that on my own. I don't have the backing of a major publishing house or a literary agent or anything like that. So it's been about 1.5 years since my first book was published, and the learning curve has been super steep and super windy at times, but it keeps moving forward, and that's what matters to me. So I personally, as far as my writing background, I have absolutely adored writing since I was about 8 years old in the 4th grade-ish somewhere around there. I was introduced to my first lesson in narrative writing for a standardized test, believe it or not, of all things. So count on the state of Florida to issue all those standardized tests. When I was given the topic for the standardized test, I took a minute to organize the basic elements and I just kind of ran with it. And honestly, I've never looked back since. I've written small things here and there, mainly just for school, like some, short prose, or I struggle, but the occasional poem, that is definitely not my forte. So don't look for hardly any of those from me, but I can do it if I really have to. I did once have to write my own chapter in Dante's Inferno with my own spirit guide and putting myself in Dante's shoes and going through. So that was probably one of my most fun and really challenging projects. As I said, I am no poet. I definitely prefer narrative prose and things like that. But I did love it. And it was something I am insanely proud of to this day. Maybe one day I'll share it with you if I dig it out of the old dusty filing cabinet. I'm pretty sure I still have it somewhere. As far as what I mainly write about, romance. I've always enjoyed the romance genre. It's where my pen has felt most comfortable. It's where my fingers feel most comfortable on the keys, is writing about the journey that it takes to find your place in life and the one to share it with. So that kind of tale of romance is where I feel the most comfortable. But about 5 years or so ago, before publishing Angel of Death, I did dabble with the idea of magic in my writing, a way to kind of add an unexpected element to the romance, at least unexpected for me because I don't normally do that. There's just something fun and really satisfying to an imagination like mine when I can craft realistic characters with these actual relatable kind of goals and emotions, but allow them to step into a fantasy world that's still got that touch of realism. So magical realism, you might say, with fantasy, kind of mixed in with it. I do have some drafts that need revised of books that are strictly romance genre based, but right now I am devoting most of my free time to Angel of Death. That is my brainchild. So that is what you can expect to hear about the most on this channel. I am absolutely obsessed with my Angel of Death series. Truly, I am. It's so difficult sometimes to remember that these characters are fake and made up. I just have these conversations with them in my head, and I have to stop myself from blurting out spoilers to everybody, and to stop myself from telling my husband, hey, do you know what Skylar did today? Oh, wait, she's not real. And if I tell you, that's a spoiler. So keeping my mouth shut on that one. It really is difficult sometimes because I am incredibly eager for all of you to know what's going to happen next. So you'll definitely have to read the books, because I personally think it's one thing for an author to really like what they're writing, but it's another thing altogether for an author to be really into it and, obsessed, not in like a weird, like overly done way, but to be really passionate about what we write about, because then it can translate to you as the reader and you enjoy it all the more because based on the words that I've written, that I'm enjoying it. So it helps you enjoy it all the more. So when we talk about Angel of Death on this channel, I promise I will try my best to not spoil anything in the future of the series. If we're talking about something that happens in a book that's already out, However, I will be sure to include a spoiler warning, like in the description or something. Like I'll like slap it across the screen for you or something, just so that if you haven't read it yet, you can kind of skip ahead, because we are going to focus on a wide variety of topics on this channel. Everything from character bios and deep dives into their motivations to theories for the future. And we'll even discuss the cover art and some little known facts of inspiration for each book. So if you subscribe and follow the Composition of Imagination, you'll also have some chances to enter future giveaways for free copies of books, like advanced reader copies, things like that. And I mean, come on, who doesn't like freebies, right? So when we aren't talking about Angel of Death, that kind of branches into the other half of this channel, where we'll kind of discuss my writing process and maybe go into what it's like to be an indie author and the publishing process, so that anybody who is watching this, I know there's a plethora of indie authors out there talking about the process and everything, but I'm making it a point to be super relaxed and laid back, and basically the Nirvana approach. Come as you are. I am here as I am, as Stevie Jo, the indie author, and I'm hoping it will relate to other indie authors out there who maybe aspire to do this, and or indie authors that are currently kind of struggling to navigate the publishing, marketing, all of that scene. I would love to chat and offer advice. You can ask questions in the comments, and I will do my best to go through and answer them to the best of my ability, of course, because I am no, publisher of a big box company. I'm just telling you what I have learned from this experience so far, a year and a half later. So if you keep an eye on my website, which is steviejoauthor.com, and my socials, just honestly, Stevie Jo Author for everything. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those things. Just keep an eye on all that stuff, because I will post when I'm taking questions in particular about the writing process and things like that. It'll be a little kind of occasional episode that comes up every now and again. We'll call it Questions of Fate, and which is of course a play on fate being in my books. If you haven't read them yet, definitely do so, because some of the terminology you will understand as we go through, but I'll do my best to explain it as well so that you can still enjoy it. The Questions of Fate is going to basically be you guys asking me different things, and I will post whenever we're ready for those episodes so that you can get those questions into me. I will also have very frequent co-hosts on the show, because a book discussion is more fun with somebody else, right? Especially when that somebody else doesn't know what's going to happen next. I can just sit here with the pot and my spoon and stir it all around, and they can go at it and theorize and do all the fun things that I really want for you guys to enjoy that we do on this show. So my co-hosts are called Book Guardians. They are the people closest to me who help me with almost everything related to these books. They keep me on track with continuity. They help me sell the books when I'm at in-person events. And you'll get to meet a few of them next week while we do a little interview with them, just so that you can get to know them. I think it's really important to know who you're listening to and or watching if you're here on the YouTube channel. I think it's important to just kind of get to know us a little bit before we dive into all of this discussion, because trust me, this is a lengthy series. 22 books are planned in it, so we have a lot of material for some good discussions. The long and short of this welcome video basically is, if you love to read, particularly in the fantasy and or romance genres, or a combination of both, then you will definitely want to subscribe to the Composition of Imagination. And if you're not super into fantasy, magical realism, romance, whatever, subscribe anyway. You really just might find you actually enjoy it, and you'll want to hear more about Angel of Death and the writing process, and you may even be inclined to read it. So this is for everybody. I'm not just going to single out the ones who love to read, because I want the non-readers too. And the composition of imagination is really meant to be a gateway into my creative mind. Maybe you'll learn how to be an indie author for yourself, or maybe you'll find a new favorite book series. I don't know. Maybe you'll end up just finding it interesting to hear how an entire world exists in someone else's mind, separate from the reality that I'm living. No matter what your reason is for coming on and tuning into the composition of imagination, I really hope you stick around, and we're going to have a ton of fun. I'm super looking forward to answering some of your questions in future episodes, and I'm just really looking forward to you guys experiencing this world from, a whole new perspective, to gain some more insight into these characters and learn a little bit more about it. Next week, we will meet a couple of my amazing book guardians, as I said. But until then, your job is to go and follow me on social media, tap the like button on here, subscribe to the composition of imagination, and if you've read any of Angel of Death, let me know in the comments. I would absolutely love to give some of my readers a shout out next week. And if there's some certain things you would love to hear us talk about on this show, go ahead and drop that too. We're taking notes for future episode ideas, so we'll definitely give you shout outs whenever we get there. And before I go, I do just want to emphasize that while you're watching the composition of imagination or listening to it on your podcast, this is a safe space. With everything that's going on in the world right now, I feel like it's really important to just have fun and be in an environment where you enjoy what's happening, or at least listening to people that make you smile for just a little bit. I think that's really important with everything we've been through lately. So the composition of imagination is meant to be a positive addition to your day, just as it is to me and my book guardians. It's our goal on this channel to treat everybody with respect and kindness. So please follow suit. There's a lot of negativity already in the world, so we don't need to add to it. Let's just work together to bring some light to the darkness, as Tolkien would say. Reading is supposed to be an escape for both the heart and the mind, and if I can give you a little reprieve with this channel and my books, then that's a job well done, in my opinion. So most importantly, something that I will say every single episode, because it really does mean a lot to me. I've heard other YouTubers say stuff like this, and it just really helps me, so I want to pass it on, pay it forward, if you will. So the most important thing to me is that you guys know that you matter. You are loved. You are worth it. Whatever your goals are, I know you're going to achieve them, because you are capable of so much. And I'm rooting for you. And you need to just go out there, kick ass, and take names this week, like I know you will. And I look forward to seeing you again next week on the introduction of the Book Guardians episode. And hey, let's be real for a second. If you're throwing a Halloween party this weekend, please do so responsibly. No drinking and driving, guys. We want you to be able to tune in next week and have some more fun with me and my co-hosts. And remember to always check your candy and have a spooktacular good time. See you next week. Don't forget to check out the first 3 installments in the Angel of Death series, now available at StevieJoAuthor.com.